Hi, Rick here, creator and indeed all things at the Splendid Photography Explained podcast. So the current episode, how to use your gear to improve your compositions. This is episode 175, and in this video I am going to talk to you about what do I do. Part of my podcast every week is to tell you what I do. Excuse the croaky voice, it's getting back to normal, but I'm not there yet. Maybe tomorrow. So this is what I do. I use a full frame Canon 6D with my Canon 17 to 40mm lens. I usually have my camera on a tripod, and I use the 17mm focal length for most of my photos of buildings. As I said, I take the photos with my camera on a tripod, and I use aperture priority mode, also known as AV mode, and the self timer. That's an important part of the tripod bit. And I try to come up with interesting compositions, as these are what get the viewer's attention. I use Canon cameras for photos of buildings and Olympus cameras for my travel photography. Now, in this episode I mentioned my painter's pole, which gives me a different point of view. It's a great way to photograph houses from the first floor level, and also anything really. It gives you a different perspective, which has to be a good thing because it makes your photos stand out. And the other thing that I do is when I'm photographing a tall building, all I can do is go as wide as I can do. I accept that the building is going to be leaning back, which I fix in Lightroom, but what you need to do is you need to allow enough space around the building, because when you correct back like that, you lose parts of the edges of the photo. So you've got to make sure you've got enough there to allow the correction afterwards. Best way to learn this one is to practice it, like with most things. And I also have a device called a magic arm, sticking with the gear and composition thing, which I fix to steel columns when the light's low, when I need some support, but I can't physically get my tripod to the place where I'm taking the photograph, and this happens surprisingly often. And that's what I do. That is how I use gear to help me with my compositions. Not too complicated, is it? Okay then, check out the podcast website, photographyexplainedpodcast.com, where you can find out all about the podcast. You can read the scripts, listen to all the episodes, and you can even fill in the box and get a weekly email from me. Yes, how utterly splendid, a weekly email from me every Friday, 3 p.m, time where I'm sat. And yeah, check out the podcast at all good podcast providers. And I'm hoping that my voice will recover for the next recording. So until then, I will say thanks for watching, take care, stay safe. Cheers from me, Rick.